They laughed at the dirt under my fingernails. But none of them knew the land they mocked was worth billions, and I owned every acre. The annual summer barbecue at my parents' estate was loud, polished, and predictable, until my sister Rachel noticed my hands. Still pretending to be a farmer? She smirked, smoothing her designer dress. What is it this time, homegrown carrots? I glanced at my boots, still stained with dark valley soil from an early morning inspection. Something like that, I replied calmly. Emily's just experimenting, my mother said quickly to Rachel's new husband, an investment banker, who looked deeply uncomfortable standing next to someone in work boots. She bought some land out in the valley last year. Calls it a sustainability phase. What they called some land was actually 2,000 acres of untouched potential. What they dismissed as playing in the dirt was a precision-planned, environmental restoration project, one that had already caught the attention of global sustainable development firms. You should see her little shed, Rachel laughed. Remember when she turned down that VP position at Dad's company? Corner office, city views, and now plants. Dad shook his head while flipping burgers. Could have been running a division by now. Instead, she's composting and installing solar panels. If only they knew that shed was a fully equipped research hub disguised as a rustic cabin. Or that international investors had quietly flown in on private jets just to walk that very valley and study its soil. At least let me help you find a real job, Rachel said, her diamond bracelet flashing in the sun. My firm is always hiring. My phone vibrated in my pocket. Another message from the development team. Plans approved. Ready for city council submission. 5 years of silent preparation was finally coming together. I'm doing fine, I said softly, scanning the latest soil analysis. The land was outperforming even our highest projections. Mom sighed. Sweetheart, you live in a cabin. Your sister just bought her 3rd vacation home. Rachel's husband leaned in. Actually, have you heard about that mystery developer buying up land in the valley? Some massive eco-luxury project. Sustainable resorts, organic farming, renewable energy. They're saying it's a multi-billion-dollar development. I took a slow sip of water, hiding my smile. I might have heard something about that, I said. Rachel scoffed. Billions? In that empty valley next to Emily's little garden? Dad shook his head, flipping another burger. None of them realized that the future they were laughing at was already standing right in front of them. With dirt under her nails. Who would invest that kind of money in farmland? Rachel scoffed. My phone buzzed again. Plans leaked. Press conference moved up. Your presence required immediately. I slid my phone back into my pocket and stood up. Actually, I said calmly, just as notification sounds began erupting around the table. I need to head out. I have a meeting about the Valley Project. A meeting? Rachel laughed. With your tomatoes? Her husband suddenly went silent, staring at his screen. The first headline had appeared. Breaking, revolutionary eco-resort development revealed Valley Vista project. Set to redefine luxury sustainable tourism. That's right by your land, he muttered. Mom frowned, scrolling faster. It says here the developer owns the entire valley. 2,000 acres. I know, I said quietly. I prefer to think of it as my garden. Rachel's wine glass froze halfway to her lips as more details flooded in. The master plan. The international investors. the sustainable infrastructure budgets. And then my name appeared. Emily Carter, founder and CEO, Valley Vista Developments. The barbecue fell completely silent. Phones kept lighting up. One alert after another. Rachel's husband was the first to speak, his banker instincts kicking in. You're the mystery developer. The one everyone's been trying to identify for months. I pulled out my tablet. Not the version leaking to the press, I said, tapping the screen. The real plans. The display came alive. A three-dimensional vision unfolded in the air, luxury eco-resorts woven into restored forests. Five-star treehouse suites suspended in ancient canopies, geothermal underground spas. Organic farms designed to supply Michelin-starred restaurants. But you live in a cabin, Mom whispered. A prototype, I corrected, switching the view. Every sustainable technology we use was tested there first. Rachel scoffed weakly. Those solar panels? They're powering the entire valley's construction, I replied. Dad abandoned the grill and stepped closer, his expression changing as he studied the scale. This isn't just development, he said slowly. It enhances the ecosystem. The permits alone must have cost millions, he added. Try billions, Rachel's husband whispered, calculating rapidly. Land acquisition, infrastructure, R&D. This is the largest sustainable development project ever attempted. Rachel's hands trembled as she set her glass down. All those times you missed my housewarmings. I was meeting with environmental engineers, I nodded. Negotiating with ecotourism leaders. Or developing new sustainable building materials in my garden shed. More guests gathered as the next phase appeared. Restored wetlands filtering the valley's water naturally. Wildlife corridors integrated into every structure. Invisible technology making luxury and conservation coexist. Those investments you warned me against, I said to Rachel's husband. The ones you called worthless land parcels? He swallowed. They completed the valley acquisition. Every worthless acre is now part of a multi-billion-dollar future. Mom sank into a chair, her social calendar slipping from her hands. But you never said anything. I smiled softly. You never asked, would you have believed me? I asked quietly. Between Rachel's polished corporate success and Dad's traditional development empire, when would either of you have actually listened? My phone vibrated again. Press assembling at Valley entrance. Aerial coverage confirmed. I glanced at the time. The official announcement is in 1 hour, I said. You're welcome to come. I paused, looking at Rachel's heels sinking into the grass. Though you may want to change, I added. We'll be walking the site. Walking? Rachel echoed, staring down at her designer shoes. In the future of luxury development, I corrected, where success isn't measured in marble floors, but in restored ecosystems. Dad was still frozen, studying the projections, his developer instincts rewriting decades of belief. This changes everything, he said quietly. That's the idea, I smiled, pulling up the revenue forecasts. Sustainable luxury isn't about sacrificing profit. It's about earning it by protecting what matters. Rachel's husband was already on his phone, voice low and urgent. The patents alone. He muttered. The market impact, this will reshape the industry. They're secured, I said calmly. Along with contracts for 6 additional global sites. Turns out, playing in the dirt can be extremely profitable when you're growing the future. The display shifted to its final image. The valley, once dismissed as empty farmland, now alive with forests, flowing water, renewable energy, and quiet luxury. Every tree I planted, every soil sample I tested, every panel I installed, all of it had been building toward this moment. I looked around at my family, still trying to reconcile the daughter they underestimated with the woman standing before them. "Well," I said, locking the tablet, "shall we head to the press conference? I believe there are quite a few people very interested in my little garden." Engines hummed softly outside. My security team arrived not in flashy supercars, but in custom-built electric vehicles designed for the valley terrain. Miss Crawford, my head of operations, stepped forward, tablet in hand. "Everything's ready," she said. "The world is waiting." I smiled once more and stepped into the future they never saw coming. The international investors had already gathered at the site. Chic representatives whispered excitedly, eyeing the possibilities for desert adaptation. Desert adaptation? Dad's voice cracked. "You're expanding. To the Middle East, among other places?" I nodded, pulling up a global map dotted with potential sites. Sustainable luxury translates across cultures. We already have inquiries from 12 countries. Rachel's perfectly highlighted hair seemed to deflate as Forbes representatives set up for an exclusive interview on the lawn. "But you never even finished business school," she whispered. "I was too busy building an actual business," I replied, taking a tablet with the latest sustainability metrics. Those environmental science classes everyone mocked? Turns out they were invaluable. Above us, helicopters circled, media crews jockeying for shots. My little garden was about to become the most talked about development in the world. Rachel's husband muttered numbers under his breath. Vertical farming, water recycling, renewable energy grid. "This isn't just a resort," I said, smiling. "It's a blueprint for future cities." Luxury vehicles rolled in with potential investors. Those tomatoes I'd been growing? Test crops for specialized soil development. That compost system? Patent-pending biotechnology revolutionizing waste management. Mom's social calendar charity luncheons. Country club events looked suddenly tiny compared to my afternoon of international presentations and environmental impact discussions. "Your sister's house in the Hamptons," I added, pulling up energy comparison data, "uses more energy in a month than my entire development will in a year, and it's 1,000th the size." Rachel's face flushed as her social circle arrived not as guests, but as potential investors eager to join the sustainable luxury movement. "The press conference begins in 30 minutes, my assistant announced. "The governor is on his way, along with the EPA director and 3 UN sustainability ambassadors." Dad's burger tongs clattered to the ground. "The governor is very interested in expanding this model across the state," I confirmed. "Sustainable luxury generates more tax revenue than traditional real estate." The family barbecue was forgotten as the estate transformed into a staging ground for one of the biggest development announcements in recent history. Sometimes success doesn't look like everyone expects. Sometimes it's soil samples and solar panels, quietly revolutionizing an industry, while others measure square footage and marble countertops. As the sun set over the valley, the world's media captured a moment no one in my family had imagined. I stood on a sustainable bamboo platform. My dirty work boots had become a symbol of authenticity, as reporters scribbled furiously in their notebooks. Valley Vista isn't just another luxury development, I announced. It's proof that true luxury can heal the earth rather than harm it. Behind me, a holographic display brought the valley to life. Living buildings rising from restored landscapes. Organic farms integrated with five-star accommodations. Wildlife corridors weaving through world-class amenities. From my vantage point, I spotted my family in the crowd. Rachel's designer outfit looked strangely out of place among tech billionaires and environmental leaders. Mom's social planning notebook remained closed status, didn't need planning when it had been redefined. The waiting list for residential units, I continued, already exceeds 2 years. But priority goes to those who demonstrate genuine commitment to our environmental standards. Dad's developer friends shifted uneasily, silently recalculating how their old-school luxury projects would compete with this new paradigm of sustainable opulence. We aren't just building a resort, I concluded as the display revealed global projections. We're growing a revolution, one that started in a simple garden and will redefine the very meaning of luxury living. The valley glowed in the last rays of sunlight. My little garden, ready to bloom, was about to change the world.